For years, I've been gaslit. I have been gaslit into thinking that having multiple passions meant that I lacked direction. But it's kind of crazy how the universe sends you signs when you need them the most. So last week, this video came across my For You page.
What I love about a portfolio career is that you're probably multi-hyphenate and struggle with choosing one path. A portfolio career gives you the permission to express different sides of you. And let's be real, like most women have different seasons of their lives. You might have one season where you want a girl boss and then another season where you want to chill out. And a portfolio career allows you to choose which lanes resonate with that season of your life.
And I have never identified with something more quickly. So for the past few years, after being a full-time content creator for 10 years, I have been trying to figure out what is next for me. So this year I've been working with a career coach every single week and really trying to figure out what aligns with me. What is it that I want to do? But it turns out that there isn't just one box that I could tick that would satisfy all aspects of me. And I thought it was a me problem, right? Like, I'm the one who's all over the place. Why can't I figure out just one interest and stick to it? Why do I have to make my life so complicated? Why can't I be fulfilled by just doing one singular thing? And it wasn't until that video where I felt validated. So if you are a multi-passionate person who struggles just trying to pick one path, this video is for you. So let's talk about the portfolio career, what it is, what it means, and why this might be the path of the future. So basically, a portfolio career means instead of just choosing one path, you're building out multiple lanes in your career. So instead of having just one job at one company, you're combining multiple roles with different sources of income to diversify the workload and the type of work that you're doing. Basically, at least this is the way I see it, is that a portfolio career allows you to fulfill every aspect of yourself at any given time. So this is essentially you building your dream job that might not be available to you in one job. So you are creating that for yourself. You are creating your own dream job with a mix of employment, freelance, and/or consulting. And this can happen in two ways. The first way is taking one or two core skills that you have and stretching them across multiple lanes. So, for example, maybe you are a copywriter. Your core revenue stream is working as a brand strategist for a company. Then maybe you're on retainer to help with email marketing for a few small businesses. And then on top of that, maybe you're selling an online course about how to write sales emails that work. So you're taking that one skill of how to write persuasive content and expanding it across multiple lanes. This is the way I see my career going as a portfolio girly. Or you can build out completely different skills. Maybe you're a doctor by day and a creative writing instructor by night. Or I have a friend who's in influencer marketing by day and a yoga instructor at night. And while yes, sometimes maybe this is based off of necessity, meaning that you have to stick with your full-time job just for the benefits and the stable income while also pursuing your personal interests at night. And I'm saying at night, but I'm really just meaning outside of work in general. Or you just like quite literally have to have multiple jobs in order to survive. But where I am at today and the way that I envision using the idea of a portfolio career for me is that it gives us the flexibility to build the career that we want based on our likes and our needs and our time. So yes, two things can be true at once, right? Yes, maybe you have to have multiple jobs in order to live in this economy. But also yes, maybe those multiple jobs can inspire you versus depress you. I know for me, I don't like doing things that I don't feel fulfilled in. And that's why I'm on this journey in the first place. So how can I take the skills that I have as a full-time creator and build a better life for myself? One that is both stable, has benefits. Oh my God, I would love health insurance, but also allows me independence, freedom of thought and creativity, and also the feeling that I am making a difference. And maybe that sounds impossible. I don't know, maybe it is impossible. I hope it's not, because that's what I'm actively going for. But I'll share later in this video how I plan on building my personal portfolio career. Before we talk about the difference between girl bossing and a portfolio career, I want to take the time to thank today's sponsor, FSA Store. I don't think I've ever done a video about FSAs before, but an FSA is a flexible spending account that lets you set aside pre-tax money to cover medical expenses like doctor's visits and prescriptions, as well as your daily healthcare needs. The FSA Store is the largest dedicated marketplace to FSA eligible products. All you have to do is use your FSA card at checkout, and you do not have to wonder if something qualifies. While there are really cool things on the website like compression boots and LED face masks, I prefer to stick with the basics. So this is everything the FSA Store sent me. Some contact solution. I started wearing contacts more consistently because I always get headaches, and the only thing that helps my headaches, if you're a headache girly, is Excedrin. Tiger Balm, if you know, you know. You have to use Magic Molecule. This is my first huge bottle of this, and I am obsessed. This is the only thing I now use as skincare when I travel, like on the airplane. It's this, a moisturizer, a sunscreen, and lip. That's it. A cervical traction and neck pain release stretcher, again for my headaches. I used to have like this huge pump one. This is kind of smaller and portable. As you can see, the FSA Store has a lot of really popular brands on their website, and you're saving money on your daily care routine because you're using pre-tax dollars. While there are rules that give you a little flexibility, just remember that FSA benefits may expire at the end of the year. So take full advantage throughout the year to make sure you're getting the most out of your funds. So head over to fsastore.com/AsiaDang or use this QR code to start shopping today. Thank you, FSA Store, for sponsoring this portion of the video. You might be wondering, isn't a portfolio career just a rebrand of the girl bossing hustle culture? And I would say yes and no. In the mid-2010s, the term girl boss was popularized by Nasty Gal founder Sophia Amoruso. She also had, I'm pretty sure, a TV show that I might have been obsessed with. And it was meant to be a form of female empowerment. If you just worked harder, better, faster, stronger, you could build the career and the life of your dreams.
The best advice for women in business: get your fucking ass up and work.
Unfortunately, the idea of girl bossing didn't take into account these systems that were not built with women in mind. You know, it doesn't matter how many hours you overworked yourself if structural inequality stops you from moving forward at every turn. So the act of girl bossing became incredibly exhausting, and being productive 24/7 led to burnout, and it led to women leaving the workforce. I kind of liken it to my personal debt-free journey. Like, I spent so many years working so hard to make as much money as humanly possible that once I accomplished all my financial goals, I was burnt out. I was burnt out to where I didn't want to budget. I didn't care to make money. I didn't care to talk about it on YouTube. I didn't even want to work on YouTube anymore. That is something you all saw that real shift happen. If you are a woman in a traditional work environment, something like that would look like you hustled so hard and you got passed up for every promotion. You still got laid off. You still had to fight for your job. You still had to fight for respect. And the pendulum then shifted from girl bossing to slow living and quiet quitting. But in the aftermath of hustle culture grew a generational shift of women in particular who started redesigning what the concept of success even was. So instead of having it all in a very narrow sense of the term, we are rewriting the rules. To me, this isn't a rebranding of hustle culture because it's not about the money and it's not about doing anything you need to do in order to make it. So when I was trying to get out of debt, I was hustling really hard. I was working my full-time job and then also dog sitting and dog walking on the side. I was selling clothes on the side. I was running errands for other people as a task rabbit. Like, to me, that is hustle culture. You're just working, you're doing any sort of job in order to make as much money as you can. And there is no thought behind those jobs. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like that type of hustle mentality suited me where I was as a person and where I wanted to be in like the near future. Now I'm 39. I've grown past that. Like even the thought of working all those jobs again just like is not desirable to me. So now it's time to start building intentionally a career that I want. So as I mentioned earlier, there are a few different ways that you can put a portfolio career into real life practice. Again, the first one is by taking one core skill and then spreading it over multiple lanes. Again, this is something that I'm doing. Or you can build out completely different skill sets like my friend, or maybe it's seasonal, like when different strands of your career come into play at different times of the year. An example would be like as a freelancer, we have our ebbs and flows throughout the year. And I know that summers surprisingly tend to be pretty slow for me. So the summertime is when potentially I could pick up a consulting job or teach a creative workshop. So when one element of my portfolio career slows, the other ones ramp up. Or maybe you're just simply mixing part-time jobs. While a lot of portfolio career jobs focus on entrepreneurship, maybe you just don't want to be your own boss. And trust me, I get that. But you can still have this variety and flexibility of a portfolio career with a mix of part-time jobs. I read an example of a woman who had 2 part-time jobs in horticulture, but they were totally different. So 2 days a week, she worked as a gardener, and the other 3 days, she worked as a project manager for an environmental charity. So she focused on one topic that she was passionate about and found 2 part-time jobs to help balance those different careers. And honestly, if this sounds more anxiety inducing than freeing, then obviously a portfolio career is probably not for you. And again, that is okay, right? The idea of a portfolio career is building the career that you want. But if you're able to find your ideal career in one job, then honestly, I'm jealous. There is definitely a certain type of person who would most likely be attracted to a portfolio career. So if this is something that you're kind of leaning towards, I want you to close your eyes and just make mental note of whether you agree with these statements or not. Okay, so this is who a portfolio career might be for. Do you often have multiple projects or ideas buzzing around in your mind? Are you a multi-passionate who has a hard time just choosing one topic? Do you love diving into a subject matter and a career, but then find yourself getting distracted? Maybe you're torn between 2 or 3 or even 4 ideas about what your future career looks like, and you cannot bring yourself to make a decision. Does the idea of settling into one career and climbing the ladder seem unfulfilling to you? And do you prefer flexibility and autonomy over more traditional ways of working? I don't know about you, but for me, all of those resonated. And if you are the same, I think it's time to come over to the dark side and consider that a portfolio career might be for you. I really love this term that I just read the other day, and it's wide achievers versus high achievers. I love that. That made so much sense in my mind. Because like for me, I don't necessarily consider myself a high achiever. I have no desire to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I have no desire to be the highest titled person at a company. Or honestly, I have no desire to even hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Those things don't really inspire me. But I do have a desire to affect change and inspire others with my vast interest and, of course, make a comfortable living doing so. And while the idea of a portfolio career excites me, I also don't want to gloss over the fact that this is definitely the harder way of life. It's going to take a lot of effort to balance everything that we want to do. But I imagine if you're choosing paths that align with your passions, that it will feel more exciting to trying to figure out how to balance all those than painful and anxiety inducing and feeling like you want to cry and drink a bottle of wine in your bathtub every day. Or at least that's what I tell my career coach, because I do think she's a little concerned that I came to her wanting stability, but I'm always kind of leaning towards not. But to me, that is something that I'm actually willing to navigate. And the reason I'm doing this video is because for the longest time, I honestly felt stupid. I felt like a stupid loser who couldn't just pick something. Like, why am I incapable of picking one topic, one passion of mine, and focusing on it? I felt stupid. And I was gaslit into believing that I am the problem, that I will never be happy at work because I am incapable of letting go of all of my passions. And I've done multiple videos about this and trying to figure out how to navigate a path for myself that seems like a path no one else takes. But it wasn't until I saw the first video that I talked about where I felt relief. And no, this isn't a new idea. As I've been reading up on portfolio careers, this has been going on for years, but I am just now hearing about it. So if you're like me, just know that there are options for us. It might take more time and effort to build a career that we are proud of and that can sustain us and that can be fulfilling, but there are options for us. What does a portfolio career look like for me? Obviously, my intention was to find a stable corporate job, but as people asked me, like, what industry do I want to be in, or what does the job I want look like, I could not answer that with a single answer. Do I want to work in fintech? Do I want to work in nonprofits, policy, politics, the environment, women's rights? Would I be okay working under someone? Yes. Would I be okay giving up creative control? No. Fortunately, I have been focusing on opportunities for myself. And while I haven't signed any contract, so none of this is official, and I'm trying to be as vague and also descriptive as possible so you all can so I don't jinx myself, but you guys can kind of see the path that I'm giving myself. I do feel like if all goes to plan, I have found my personal ideal balance for a portfolio career. One that balances financial stability with civic impact and creative autonomy. Again, kind of sounds a little impossible when I say it out loud, but go with me here. I'm going to take my one core skill, my one skill of digital strategy and expand it across multiple lanes. So my anchor job, ideally, would actually be working in fintech. And this wasn't something that I realized until my last conversation with my career coach. It was kind of like an aha moment, but as like a director of digital strategy, or something. I feel like a lot of the names I'm seeing online are like kind of made up, if we're being honest. So something along those lines. That would allow me to do what I feel I do best at, which is explain complex issues specifically around money and make it easy to understand and make it less scary. That's what I feel like I am best at. But keeping myself and my personal experience out of it, which has been the part that was draining me the most about this whole thing. And I did a few videos about that. Like, I've already done all the videos about finances I needed to on this channel, but I also know that I love talking about money. And I also know that you all love listening to me talk about money. So how can we combine those things but keep it off of my personal channel? And I feel like this is the best way to do that. And then with that, this would give me the stability, benefits, and kind of like the intellectual stimulation and like light creativity that I need. So that's my core job. And then my two satellite jobs. The first one would actually be consulting, and then the second one would be content creation. So right now for consulting, I'm looking to become a strategist for local politicians and or nonprofits. And then also being so vocal in politics just as is, I feel like this very much aligns with who I am as a person. And then when I have time, my last satellite portfolio career would continue to be content creation. And this would allow me full autonomy. It would be where I can be the most creative and experimental and just have full ownership about my content and my ideas. And because I've done this for 10 years, I know kind of like how I can manage at least the content creation part with the other portfolio careers. But I don't know, we'll see. I think this makes sense for me because I've always had a public voice and authority in the financial, literacy space and strong values, which is why it's hard to make money for me online anymore. And this structure separates them very cleanly instead of me having to force myself to choose one aspect of my interest over another. Again, this is my ideal. I don't know if it's actually going to work because I'm not actively in it, but I am actively seeking it. So I don't know. We'll see in a couple months what actually happens and how I manage my time, because my career coach she is very concerned about my mental health. But me, guys, always have to do things the hard way. But I do feel like in the end, I'll be better for it and I'll be happier and I'll be fulfilled. And to me, that makes the possibility of early stress reasonable. Yeah, my career coach is very concerned because I came to her specifically to seek stability, right? Not more chaos. But I think I just have to accept that chaos for other people might just be my clarity. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the idea of a portfolio career sounds exciting? Do you think this is something that you're already doing in some way? Like, I actually thought about this before I shot this. Brian is totally a portfolio career girly, and he doesn't even know it, because while you guys might know him as like one of the best choreographers in the world, what he's really good at, what his core skill is teaching. So his portfolio career is teaching. His core career is choreography, but his satellite career, I think he's doing it right now. He's teaching others how to play a video game called Marvel Rivals. He's teaching people how to play certain characters. He's a portfolio girly. So let me know about what you think about a portfolio career. Is this something that excites you? Do you feel like inherently drawn to it? Or do you think this is bullshit? Do you think this is just another way for women to like outwork themselves? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully in a few months, I'll have some exciting news to share. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. I'm Ajidang. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye.